lot of moving parts around the growth of digital media. MediaMath did a report with Forrester, commissioned them, and there's still some issues from the brand perspective, the buyer's perspective, a lack of transparency, still some things that need to be, figured out. Tell us a little bit about your view on that, and what Oracle is doing and the Moat products to make um, to make the buy more transparent.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a topic we've thought a lot about and spent a lot of time thinking about with partners like MediaMath and their source program. It's a really interesting time in human history. I don't think there's ever been a time when consumers have moved as quickly, even before this recent COVID experience where everyone's even more digital than ever before. But folks have moved to digital and the dollars have really had a trouble following. And a lot of that is this idea of like feeling comfortable with the transparency. And we work with a lot of these really great brands, but if you're a large global brand, you might spend 35% of your media in digital. Well, you certainly know that more than 35% of your consumers' time is being spent digital. But you're afraid to sort of move budgets until you can feel more secure in how that money is hitting the mark in terms of outcomes, or even in terms of just being sort of viewable by a human in a brand safe environment. And so there's this really interesting sort of time we're in, and a major sort of problem for the advertisers. And so what we've really tried to do is be a neutral third party that can shine a light on some of the basic verification principles like viewability, brand safety, and ultimately invalid traffic or fraud. And MediaMath has been really aligned with us in terms of their thinking on this idea of transparency. And I think too often in our industry, we get sort of caught up in trying to figure out who's going to get what share of the current digital pie. And I think what MediaMath really sees is if we're transparent, then the advertisers will be able to move more money from TV or other areas because they'll feel more comfortable that it's going towards where the consumers are spending time.
Chris, tell us about sort of the challenges of targeting, addressing media now in the wake of big changes with IDFA, with third-party cookies going away. Where do we have to go, and what are some best practices now that you see for your clients?
Yeah, if there's one great thing about our industry, it's that it has the ability to continue to evolve and adapt. And I see these current challenges, and they are current challenges, as a big opportunity for us. And that's the way we're seeing it within Oracle. And when I say us, I mean the industry. Again, we know where our consumers are, and we know that we have attentive, great sort of active ways to tell stories, but we're having trouble connecting the outcomes to that advertising, or even the scale or the people in the right way. During this, last 6 months, we've seen 55% of individuals are watching more video online than they did pre-COVID. So there's this huge opportunity for us as an industry. Now we have the challenges you just laid out, right, that are substantial. How do we connect so that we know we're able to tell the right story? And so I think the good news is there are proprietary data graphs, and we have one that are going to be able to help people connect without maybe some of the privacy fears that we've had in the past. And so I think our industry will gravitate towards sort of the high water mark on some of this. And simply put, we were using the tools we had at our disposal. And why would you change unless you really had to if it was working? And so it makes it harder to get scale. It makes it harder to find some ways to connect and tell the story. But ultimately, that's what resonates. So I think we'll see a way through that as an industry together.
Chris, I wanted to ask you about brand suitability, brand safety, brand viewability in CTV and fraud. And everyone, there's this, perception that, CTV is a clean place. I mean, by some people, and then of course others see it a different way. And I know through our reporting there are problems, and I know that you guys are very active in trying to fix those problems. Could you explain kind of where the rough spots are in CTV right now, kind of what's going on either by bad actors or by bad technology, and what you see as the problem and how you're hoping to fix it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, this is the crux of the problem. If the advertisers can't feel comfortable moving towards a medium where we know people are spending a large amount of time, then we're going to have trouble growing as an industry. So in this space, I mean, anytime you have a lot of money and high CPMs, you're going to have some bad actors emerge. And we've caught a few of these, as you said, and we've been able to identify some of the activities that are going on behind the scenes. And what I'd say has been a great sort of change in our ecosystem over the last 5 or 6 years is when we've identified these, we've seen publishers and the programmatic partners that we work with be very quick to get that inventory out of our ecosystem, which is really encouraging. One of the main issues with connected TV in particular is it is complex. There are lots of sort of ways, different devices, different signals that can be manipulated where folks are able to mimic user behavior. Simply put, we look at things like our devices showing constant activity. We look at, obviously some things that we don't want to share because we're able to identify them. And then we're quickly able to communicate that into the ecosystem. It's going to be a constant part of our life here. Anytime there's a lot of money changing hands, there's going to be people who are looking to game the system. The good news is with a big company like Oracle, we have lots of tools at our disposal to identify the fraudulent activity. But the thing I would say is everyone needs to be sort of willing to participate in a way that that they realize if we are transparent, the pie actually gets bigger. And I say that because there are folks who say, even in traditional linear television, like, well, we can't measure if the TV is on or not. Well, we can. We may choose not to, right? And so we need to take that same discipline to everything we do. We can't just assume that that a medium is 100% fraud free or that it's 100% viewable. We really need to measure in those spaces in a way that everybody feels is transparent.